Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaylina and this is the Magic Society and we're here. We did it on two different accounts. One, we made it through the entire 12 days of Yule Challenge, which if you know me at all, that's pretty impressive because that was like a lot of, I was literally filming them like by the day or the day before and then posting and like doing that for a whole week. And that was a lot. I thought one video a week was sometimes a challenge and I don't always get that out either. But man, I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad I did it. And I learned a lot from the other creators. It was a really nice kind of just look back and reflection on my practice as well. So I really enjoyed that, and now we are looking towards the future, and Happy New Year's, and I hope everyone had a wonderful, lovely day full of relaxation or just whatever it was you were out and about doing. I started my year off with a bang because my sister's motorcycle got stolen out of her apartment parking lot the other day, and obviously she was unhappy. I was unhappy, and she wanted to do a curse slash hex, I guess, on these people who stole her bike. And she's into the witchcraft stuff, but she's definitely not like necessarily what you would call like a full-time like practitioner. She's not always doing stuff. I mean, she's in tune with some of her spirit guides and stuff like that, and she loves the crystals and she loves, you know, working with tarot and stuff like that, but she's not like doing spells really like ever. So, and I applaud her for being smart about it and not just jumping headfirst into the deep end and being like, curse, let's do a curse, when we, you know, haven't really been in that realm for very long. So she came to me and she's like, yeah, I want to curse them. I want them, and not just cursing because of like, oh, I want revenge for what they did, but more of a curse for feeling the hurt and pain of coveting someone else's stuff that doesn't belong to you. And the thing is, it's, you know, and this is nothing against people that do come from money, but my sister and I, we aren't making the big bucks, you know, like, and I know that's a lot of people. A lot of people are kind of middle range. And so, and it's not to say that people that do make a lot of money don't work for it, because they absolutely do. But it just like, it's not more like, it's like this, like you're not just taking from a big, huge company, you know, where something like that, they probably aren't even going to notice. It's barely going to be a pinch to them. But for someone who works really, really hard for everything that they have, that's whether you make a lot of money or not, you know, you're working really hard to get what you have. And so it hurts when that kind of stuff happens. And so it was more like, I feel this hurt and I do feel some anger and I want to get it out, and I want to curse them from doing this ever again to somebody. And I want them to kind of suffer anytime that they covet someone else's stuff and they steal someone else's property. And it was frustrating because when we called the police, which the police were very, very kind, we had the nicest cop ever. And I was really relieved for that, because I've dealt with some not so nice cops in the past. And just like every other occupation, there's good and there's bad. But I've definitely had some really not great interactions with cops that leave me just kind of feeling anxiety filled. And I mean, let's face it, anytime you have to deal with a cop, it's not usually because of good reasons, but this cop was so sweet. She was very, very kind, and she had told us that another motorcycle in that same apartment complex had been stolen a week before. So, and like 5 years ago, I had my car stolen out of my driveway. So I understand the feel and the feeling of hurt and anger and just absolute, like, just you're stunned. You're stunned when this happens because it just feels like it comes out of left wing. And those people who stole her bike don't give two flying fucks who she is, but it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. And it just, you just feel violated. And yeah, so we started off the year with a bang, and we went and we performed a court curse on the people that stole her bike. And I'm mad for her, you know? And I am not one to say that cursing is your first line of action. I'm not even saying hexing or even like the evil eye is not always my first line of defense. But in this particular case, I want them to pay for what they did to her. So, and I'm not usually a like vindictive person, but it just feels so outright wrong, you know? Like you just can't justify it. And so, yeah, we did a curse, and I'm hoping that turned out well. We definitely obviously like smudged and, you know, cleansed ourselves afterward. I cleansed all the utensils that I used, that the ones that I couldn't leave at the site, and we did a whole curse. And I really hope it works, because those people, even if they don't find her bike, it's still just the thought of putting a little bit of karma into our hands and making sure, even if they do choose to steal again, it's not going to go well for them. So, yeah, I feel like I've been doing a lot of magic recently, more than what I've been doing like throughout half this year. And that's because I am currently living with my parents for the time being, because they graciously let me stay here while I figured out kind of getting a second job and figuring out apartments and like where I'm going to land, you know, now that we sold the house and I'm on my own again. So yeah, so I haven't been wanting to do like tons and tons of magic, just because I feel like when you do a lot of magic, it brings in all the spirit activity, because it's just like a beacon of energy and it just draws them to you, good or bad. And so obviously I put up like wards and stuff with those little Russian balls that I made in the one video, but where was I even going with this? But yeah, so we did the curse. I, of course, did my like prosperity and sun spell for my family members. And I also did like this little spell for this spray that was also kind of like sun related. And I didn't post that yet, but I might just post it as well, because it's just this quick little spray for bringing in good energy and protection, and bringing in that sun radiating joy and happiness, and kind of a charging spray that you can use to cleanse your windows, or even spray on your crystals to help kind of cleanse them as well and charge them up. And I have it just sitting here in the window so it can always get the sunshine as well when the sun does decide to come out, which is a rare occurrence this time of year. But so yeah, okay, anyway, this video is gonna be forever long if I don't get to the point. So what are we bringing into the new year? Oh my gosh, so many things that my brain is reeling with all the different things that I want to learn about and work with. And yeah, so anyway, I did a tarot spread the other night. I feel like the last couple nights I've been doing different things to kind of prepare myself for the new year, and we did a whole tarot spread and called in all of the spirit guides, and they were incredibly helpful, and they told me things that deep down inside I knew I needed to hear, and I already knew already, but to kind of just concrete and confirm all those things, it was really nice. And I definitely felt their presence there, and it was very strong. And so I journaled about that, and a lot of it I literally pulled like every stinking sword in the tarot deck out. And that kind of went without being said. I knew that was a pretty good chance of that potentially happening, because I have been guys, I get bitter. I get like really bitter and cold-hearted when I get hurt. And so the tarot deck was literally telling me that I needed to let go of all of this, and that I needed to just stop just sitting there and thinking about it all the time and letting it get to me, because at the end of the day, it's only going to hurt me. And so, yeah, it was just like them telling me, let it go, move forward, stop just sitting there and grudging about it. And so it was telling me that there was a lot of healing that needed to happen, and that was one of the main focuses. And funny enough, one of the goals that I am setting for myself this year is to try and really be diligent with my spending and saving. So I don't want to be spending money on a bunch of random things I do not need, because I'm trying to save for my little witch cottage. And I know I've said that multiple times on this video, but it's true, and I'm manifesting it so hard. I wanted to manifest it at the beginning of this year, but everything is telling me that I need to wait. And so patience is a virtue that I don't always have, but we are going to try, and just focus this year on saving money, setting aside money. My goals financially are to be able to set aside hopefully $200 per paycheck, and I get paid bi-monthly, or at least $100 monthly, to just stash aside for the house savings. I know it's not going to add up fast, but every little bit helps. And then I want to put like another $100, $200 aside for like travel, because let's face it, travel is one of those things that, like, if you can be diligent and set money aside for that, it makes my life, like, it gives me something to look forward to, you know, like something distinct that I can look forward to. And so if I can have at least like 2 little outings somewhere, that just gets me out of the state and just gives me a fun experience, and being able to just experience something new and experience a new place. Not that the Midwest isn't just fantastic, but there's a whole lot of world out there, and I want to see all of it. But I can't do that if I'm dirt poor. I mean, you can do vacations on a budget. You can for sure do that. You don't have to spend tons and tons of money to have a really decent vacation. And you get very creative when you are not very financially sound. So that's another goal. But the tarot spread was definitely talking about money and being just diligent with saving and being responsible with money. And so that is what we're going to do this year, starting tomorrow, because I did go out today and get a couple things, but it was for an altar that I'm starting to work with, a different like god, daemon, deity type situation. But yeah, so those are kind of like the big goals, as far as like the tarot was sharing with me. Now for the goals that I want to work with this year, there's obviously the magical side of things, and then there's the non-magical side of things. And what I like to do at the start of every single year is 2 things really. One, which I did last night, was write down all the things that I'm letting go of this next year. Wrote this big long list down, and right before 12 o'clock, I burned it and let it go out into the universe. And then I wrote a whole list of the things I want to bring in for this year. And it just lets you brain dump everything onto a page. And some of these goals are going to take a while, you know, like it's not going to be this snap your fingers and boom, it's there. Like, it's going to take time, and it's probably going to take this whole next year, or even into the year after that. I mean, that's life. There's no timeline for when certain things fall, where they fall. And so, but I wanted to write down all the things I was bringing in for the year, and then right at 12 o'clock, I burned that one and released that one into the universe. And with the sound of fireworks everywhere. So that is definitely something that I do And then as far as like non-magical stuff, I want to obviously work with my money and stuff like that and be diligent, responsible in that aspect. But there's also a whole health aspect that I just really want to get a good grip on this year. And I feel like we've made, so while I also do all of this, I also journal as well about the previous year and then what I'm wanting to bring into the new year. And so we've made some strides. We really have. We've made some strides with the health. I mean, we still aren't there yet. I mean, anyone with a chronic illness knows that it's literally day by day. Like there are going to be some decent days and there's going to be some really bad days. And you just kind of take them as they come and you figure it out as you go, because there's no instruction manual for it. And so, but getting my health more in line. And I feel like I've gotten to the place where I've either just gotten very used to kind of the state of being that I'm always in, or we have found like some ways to manage it. And I do feel like stress plays a much bigger like part than a lot of people like even realize, because if you're just stressed out about literally every stinking thing in your life, there is no way your body that's already on overdrive is going to be able to calm down for even a second. And so I found that although this last year has been a lot of transitioning and a lot of transformation, towards the end of the year, my stress has been lower. And it's because I've found different ways to help it, as far as like grounding techniques, and my spirit guides are absolutely freaking amazing and I love them. And they have helped me like so much with just sending me constant feelings of you're safe, you have got this, you need to just ground yourself and be patient, and we've got you, and things are going to fall into place. Like you have to trust. And I know that's so much easier said than done. I'm a person that, let's face it, kind of loves control. I don't feel like I love controlling everyone else around me, but I definitely like to have a sense of control myself and in my own life. And so when you're just kind of like floating without any kind of direction, it's scary. Like it's scary for me, and I like having a plan. I like having a purpose. And if I don't know what those two things are, my mind is just like, we are all over the place. And so, but my spirit guides have just been enormously helpful with just being very patient with me and constantly reminding me, you're okay. This is what is supposed to happen right now, and there is a reason for it, and you will know about it soon enough. But for now, you just need to be and take things one step at a time. And that was also kind of the thing that my tarot spread was telling me too, because I was like, I have been looking for apartments right now like crazy. I've been looking for like an apartment or a house to rent, and every stinking avenue I go down, it's like denial. No, it's not happening. And I'm like, what the heck? I need to find an apartment. Like, now that I'm not doing the house, like, respectfully for my parents, I need to get the fuck out. And so, and they're not kicking me out. They've been nothing but like, hey, just calm down, figure out kind of where you're going, and then, you know, you'll find a place. And they've been nothing but nice. But part of me also just, I don't, depending, like asking for help, depending on just other people, I am not always good with, which is a good and a bad thing, because sometimes you just need to ask for help and you need to put your pride aside, get off your high horse, step off the pedestal, and just be like, hey, I am kind of all over right now and I need some help. Which they have helped immensely recently, just with me figuring everything out right now. And so the tarot card was like, listen, you've got money coming to you financially speaking. You've got some money coming. And it's true because I'm getting ready to start a second job here. And so, but the cards were like, you're putting the cart before the horse right now. Right now, you need to start this new job. You need to start seeing financially where you're landing each month. And then you can go and get yourself a bloody freaking apartment. And so I'm like, makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Like, get the financials figured out, then pay, the $800, $900 extra a month to live in an apartment. Boom. It's really not that complicated when you break it down like that, spirit guides. And so, yeah, just patience. Bringing in patience. And I completely went on a different tangent because I was talking about health. But yeah, health with the worry and the stress. Like, I've just learned to manage it better. And it's not to say there aren't days where I still kind of feel that anxiety trying to build up. But then I just take a moment and I seriously just ground. And I'm like, nope. What do I need to focus on right now that I can actually control? And then we'll go from there. So, and getting on an exercise like routine. I have been like having myself in a self-pity party pool for way too long as far as like the health stuff goes. And now's the time where I finally reached that point where I'm like, I've accepted this situation. I can either just be a lazy piece of shit and never do anything, or I can at least try, Like, I can try every morning or every day, do just something to keep my body moving. And there's gonna be days where I just flat out don't want to do it. But I need to do it for myself because I have found that when I do exercise, even if it's just minimally, like there's no heavy lifting, jogging 50 miles, like no way. There's no way in hell I am able to do any of that. And I used to literally like dance 40 hours a week when I was younger. I mean, literally right after school, I would go and dance for like 5 to 6 hours in the evening. And I broke a sweat, but that figuratively speaking, I could do that forever and a day. And then, you stop dancing or stop doing your sport and things just kind of tumble downhill from there. So yeah, but just some kind of routine. And I like routine in my life. I do. We go through long periods of time where we have a really good routine going and we're feeling good, and then one day we just stop doing it. And then we wonder why. And then we go for a little while not doing anything, feeling more like crap. And then finally we get motivated again to start again. It's like this never-ending merry-go-round that I need to break the wheel, so to speak. But yeah, just my goals are some kind of like walking, some kind of, or swimming or something in the day, and then some just general ab exercises to get this flab a little bit more toned up. I'm not saying we're going to be any kind of freaking Victoria's Secret model. It's not going to happen. Like, it's just, this is not ever going to turn into that. So, I mean, realism is important too, but just healthy. Like, healthy. Whatever healthy is. And healthy comes in many shapes and sizes. FYI to the fashion world. Yeah, so just getting to a point of being healthy. And it's not necessarily even about losing tons of weight. It's just maybe losing a little bit of weight. There's nothing wrong with 5-10 pounds, but just getting trimmed up and just feeling like I notice when I do actually get on kind of an exercise regimen, as far as like actually waking up and doing exercise in the morning and going and walking for a little bit, I feel lighter mentally and physically. And my energy does last a little bit longer throughout the day as well. So doing that is a must for this year. And eating a little bit better as well. I found that I can only really do like small little snacks throughout the day. There is no way I can eat 3 big meals anymore. It just doesn't happen. I feel like a bloated whale, and pretty much look like one as well. And I'm not saying that to like down myself. Legitimately, I become like at least 3 sizes bigger when I eat like a big meal, and my stomach, my pancreas doesn't break down the enzymes, so it just sits there. And it literally just sits there. And I've been asked at least once or twice when I'm expecting. And there is nothing worse than being asked that when you are not expecting. So yeah, that's just the truth. It's not to put myself down or anything. It's legitimately the truth. And so yeah, small meals, trying to maybe cut back on some of the sugar. I am a sweet tooth, and it's bad, just like the Wonka song. Do you have a sweet tooth? I definitely do. And so we maybe need to cut back on that just a tiny bit, and maybe like have kind of a cheat day system where you maybe have one day during the week where you kind of cheat and have some kind of treat of some sort, but then the rest of the time maybe sticking to a healthier diet. And I have found that like eating an apple in the morning right away, for some reason, I don't know why, a true doctor could tell you that. And I know they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but there is something about apples where I feel full, but not like heavy full. My energy is up, and I don't have so many, I'm hypoglycemic. Yeah, hyperglycemic. No, hypoglycemic as well. Not to share all my medical issues with you, but the point is that when I don't eat in the morning, or if I don't eat the right thing, I become, there's like part of my morning, I become almost like disoriented and almost kind of confused, and like I can become shaky. And so, but I have found that since I've started eating the apple in the morning, that seems to help with it. So why not? We're gonna try it and see. At this point, everything's an experiment. So yeah, so eating well, getting into an exercise routine, these are all things that we're going to consider into the new year. Just being overall patient with ourselves, and focusing on our money and saving our money and being smart about that. So those are kind of the main goals as far as like non-magical stuff goes. Now, as far as magical stuff goes, I want to embrace it and learn as much as humanly possible this year, without, just like overflowing my mind, like in that one Indiana Jones movie where she's like, I want all of the knowledge, and just everything comes in, and then she like incinerates herself because her brain can't handle it. We're not going that extreme, but there is a lot of things that I would like to cram into this next year. But I also want to spend my time with each of these subjects as well, or these entities, so to speak. And I do feel like I'm not calling myself a chaos magician, because I don't feel like I've been doing it long enough to be able to title myself in that way. But I do find, as a whole, I mean, I really love spirit work. Any kind of spirit work, any kind of deity work, any kind of on the other side of the realm, so to speak, I'm all in. Like, I love spirit work. So that is, I feel like, what makes up most of me. So I guess that's a hedge witch in a way. And then, but I do love to learn about just everything and anything. So I do skip around. Like, I don't stick to just one certain thing. And so somewhere down the line, once I feel a little bit more like knowledgeable and stuff, that may be a title I throw around a little bit, which would be really interesting to talk to some of the other chaos magicians, because I mean, I know a lot about, I don't know like a lot, but like there's a decent amount of subjects that I could at least engage in a conversation in. And I feel like that's part of being a chaos magician. So, and I think I love the idea of jumping, the paradigms and not always just sticking to one thing, because there's a big, huge world out there, and there's so much that we don't know, and there's so much I want to learn. But anyway, the things that I want to kind of deep dive into is one, working with my dragon. I know I have a dragon. She's told me her name. I can see her in my third eye, like I said before in one of my other videos. I know what she looks like. I already have this little cute little dragon. Look how cute this is. This is so adorable. I found this. This is what my dragon looks like. Like 100%. She is iridescent and like almost like rainbow, like iridescent-y, but like lightly. So this is my representation of her. I got this a while ago, but I've known about her for a little bit, and I obviously want to work with her, and I have her sitting right here with me all the time. And so we are going to hopefully deep dive into dragons. That's a goal. The other thing that literally just like popped up within the last couple days that I didn't really realize was a thing, but kind of a thing because I was already like interested in it. Okay, so I love the dream realm. I absolutely love dreams. I am fascinated by dreams. I feel like it's an actual realm, like that part of you gets to like almost live another life in outside of your life now. And that could be completely wrong. I don't know. But I'm telling you, I've had some epic dreams, some that have felt incredibly real, as if I've actually been there. And like not even just like, oh, I've been to Greece or something, or I've been to another time or something. Like legitimately, I feel like other realms, so to speak. And I feel like I have astral projected twice, kind of unknowingly. Like there's been times where there's plenty of times I've practiced trying to astral project and I just have not been able to make it. But there's been a couple times where while I've been asleep, like I know the difference between lucid dreaming and astral projection. Like lucid dreaming, you're aware that you're dreaming, like you can control the dreamscape. This was just different. This was as if I was floating above the universe and I was engaged in the stars and I was looking down upon Earth and like just the cosmic expansion of all of it. And it's hard to explain because it was all, you know, but I swear I astral projected at that point because it was just so, it wasn't anything my imagination could have come up with. And then there's another time where I was literally, both times I've been flying. So I was flying over this whole like different landscape and there was like this huge waterfall and amongst all these trees. And anyway, I felt like I was in a different realm. And so I feel like I've inadvertently, or not tried to do it twice, but have. And I get plenty of just wild dreams. Really wild dreams. So I love working with dreams anyway. And then recently I literally just binge watched The Sandman on Netflix and I'm kind of obsessed with it now. I love the aspect of the different like gods and deities and like other entities, which I guess in that they call them the Endless, but turns out, turns out Morpheus is literally derived from Greek mythology, like Greek and Roman mythology. I think he's part of the Roman one too. But he's literally the dream god of like the Greek and Roman like pantheon. So I'm like, well shit, I could actually work with Morpheus like as the actual deity as well. And I guess he's not like, he's kind of a god, but at the same time he's like this winged daemon, which is not the same as a demon. So I mean, but in other tales, they describe him as a demon as well. So, anywho, he's in charge of the dreams. And he's also in charge of, he can be part of like your creativity and inspiration and daydreams. And he can help you with astral travel and lucid dreaming, which is what I want him to help me with, is both of those aspects, because I already dream very, very vividly, but I want to learn more. I want to go to the next level. And I want to be able to do it kind of more on my terms. Like sometimes it just happens. Like I have no control over it, but I want to be able to actually astral travel to certain destinations if I want, or, you know, be able to lucid dream whatever I want. And so, or meet more of my spirit guides and stuff through dreaming. Like the dream world, it's just your mind opens up so much more, and it's so much more open to those kind of encounters when you're in your dream state. So I'm like, yeah, let's work with Morpheus. And it helps that I kind of picture him as the guy in the TV show, because let's face it, there's nothing wrong with some eye candy, and Morpheus in The Sandman is pretty hot. So, and I'm not trying to be like, you know, shallow or whatever, but also if Morpheus is a like Greek god in a sense, he's probably good looking anyway. So I actually, that's what I did today, which is what I kind of spent some of my money on, is I already do a lot of dream stuff anyway. So I'm like, okay, he could help me even more. So I actually set up right by my bed a little like dream altar for Morpheus, and have some of the correspondences that go with him, which turns out he's actually really hard to like learn about like on a deep level, because he's not considered one of like the main gods and goddesses of that group. So he was kind of hard, but I did find this other witch practitioner who works with Morpheus, and he did a whole blog on him and kind of how he worked with him and things that he found that had worked, and like different color correspondences, different symbols that represent him, and different things that you can do to maybe entice him to work with you. And so I am going off of that and hoping it works. And so yeah, we have a whole little altar over there for him now. Also, I want to work with my ancestors more, so I also set up like an official little altar for them over here. And I really liked what Juju Thyme did, and I referenced her in another video too, but I actually like really enjoy how she works with her ancestors, about how she has a meal with them on the day of her birth. And so I think, if she doesn't mind, I think I'm going to borrow that tradition as well and start doing that, because it gives like a very dedicated time to working with them and giving them offerings. Because if you're eating already and making food for yourself, why not share it with them? And so, and I also come from a Russian heritage, so I'm trying to deep dive into like Slavic paganism. So any way I can learn more about that, as well as my ancestors, I can kind of tie that all together. And I'm really lucky because I was adopted from Russia, so I obviously have my biological, oh sorry, I feel like there's, I don't know, something out of the corner of my eye keeps flickering over here. I don't know what that is, but like I said, I've been doing a lot of magic recently, so I feel like the spirit activity is going to be a little bit high the next couple days. And then also, like, I went upstairs to grab something earlier, came back downstairs, and then all of a sudden, like, something like got knocked off or something upstairs because I heard it crash. And nothing broke or anything, it was just like a piece of plastic, but I'm like, oh, here we go. And then when I was taking my shower, we have one of those things that like hangs on the faucet head, and it's been like that for as long as I can remember, and it like kind of fell down before I even touched the shower, and the shampoo bottle fell. So I'm like, great, here we go. But anyway, so yeah, ancestors, I have an altar over here. I have a Natrushka doll, which is very Russian, and I love Natrushka dolls, and I also feel like those would be great to house servitors in, so I think I'm going to do that in the next year, because I have a couple servitors that I would like to create and work with and care for a couple different ideas. One involving my workout plan. I want to create like a workout instructor, and when I'm working out, I want him to pretty much sit there and yell at me to do better. So yeah, and I already kind of created said servitor in my mind and have already kind of been playing around with as if they're talking to me while I'm doing my exercises, and it's been helping. It's been working. It's been motivating me to keep going and to push just a little bit harder. So yeah, kind of like, you know, in all those like stories where you have the really like fit, good looking guy training somebody who, you know, has a lot of potential but just hasn't gotten there yet, and they're like, they don't mollycoddle you. That is what I am picturing. And it also doesn't help that I just finished, what was it, Fourth Wing, and that whole character dynamic with like men actually not being afraid to like fight a woman just because she's, you know, a woman. I kind of like that. Like I like being challenged. I like being like somebody on a higher level than me giving me a chance to compete and to work harder. And anyway, that's the servitor I want to create for one of them. And so yeah, got our ancestor altar over here. We got our food offering, got a candle for them. My ancestors, you know, they be loving vodka, so I've got some vodka over here. And then I have 2 different books as well. One purely on Slavic, like ancestral workings, and then Baba Yaga's book of traditions or something like that. I swear I say the name wrong every single time. But anyway, okay, we're gonna finish this up, I swear. So yeah. Also, I would love, I know my YouTube channel is still extremely new, but I would seriously love to collab with some people like this next year. I want to embrace the community. I want to, I mean, sure, it's great to sit here and be a floating head on a camera and talking to all of you. But, like, you learn so much more when you actually get to really have deep, meaningful conversations with other creators and other witchy people that have all different lines and walks of practices. And there's nothing, and you can read all the books in the world too, which I'm a huge reader, don't get me wrong. But firsthand accounts of actually talking to people and engaging in their practice and having questions, I think that's the best way you can learn. So I would love to collab with people, and we'll see how that works, because I know that there's like the witchy YouTubers that have been out here forever and a day, and I'm just like a little nobody. And so reaching out to them, I don't want to like insult their time, you know, because they're busy. They're busy people, and I know it takes time and effort to collab with people. So I don't know. I'm that's a goal, but I don't want to like step on anybody's toes. Like I do not want to do that. I also, at the start of this year, want to learn a little bit more about hoodoo and voodoo, because as I've mentioned, me and my mom are going to New Orleans in March, and I'm so excited. Like New Orleans has just always fascinated me. I wanted to go there for so long, and despite what all media shows, I think hoodoo and voodoo is just... Okay, so this is probably going to be literally the worst quality video ever that you've seen, but my camera literally stopped, said that there was no memory. I literally deleted like every stinking thing off the camera, and it's still saying no memory. So we're just going to chalk this up to maybe more, I don't know, spiritual issues like with spirits and stuff, because they love to mess with electronics sometimes, and there should be absolutely no freaking reason as to why the SIM card is not working. But it's not. So now you get this grainy, awful version of me that is just embarrassing and awful, and I just... ugh. Whatever, it's fine. We're going to just make do with this for the last part of the video, because there was just a little bit more that I wanted to talk about. I was on hoodoo and voodoo, and despite what media says, I think that religion, which is voodoo, and then just the spiritual practice that is hoodoo, is absolutely beautiful. I love how nature-based it is. I love how they also are very connected with their ancestors and their spirit guides, and it's just like, I don't know the right word to use for it, but it's so authentic and just, I don't I don't know, like there's just a realness to it and just soul to it that I feel like just nobody can do it like that culture can. And yeah, it's beautiful. And I really hope I get some authentic hoodoo goodness when I go there. I know voodoo is kind of a very sacred, kind of secretive religion, so I know I will not get to like really learn a lot about that. But definitely maybe get some actual in-person like hoodoo practitioners. That would be really cool to get to talk to some of them. Okay. Lastly, I want to get into scrying. I think learning how to scry would be really interesting. I'd also like to kind of learn more about the Enneagrams. So I read quite a few books on astrology this year. I still have more books to read on astrology because you never stop learning about that, I feel like. But it got really cold in here all of a sudden. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, guys. This is, whew. We might be saging again. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, so Enneagrams. I read just one book on starseeds this last year, and that topic really fascinated me, so I definitely would not mind reading more about starseeds and kind of other beings that are in our grand universe that we hardly know anything about. And I'd also like to learn about like past life regression a little bit and just maybe learn some of the stuff that maybe a past version of me has gone through. And yeah, I think that would be absolutely fascinating. Continue with plant allies and tree allies. I feel like with them, you really have to be patient and you kind of have to, like, it takes a little while before they really open up to you. And so I feel like although I work with lots of different herbs and things, I would like a little bit deeper of a connection with each of them. So, yeah. And then also working with like masculine and feminine energy and finding a balance between the two. Because I feel like in our society today, we're so one way or the other, but really everybody is made up of both. And so, and that's how you truly live, like, who you are authentically supposed to be, is when you can find that balance between the feminine energy and the masculine energy. And it's, yeah, that's exactly what it is it's all about balance. And so working with that kind of, those kind of energies more this year, I think would be really great. I also want, as my overall kind of theme, just letting go of fear and just telling fear no, because when it rules your life, it can be incredibly crippling. And so just letting the fear go and just openly trusting, which is really hard. It's like, for instance, going into battle without a weapon or any means of defense. You stand there and you're vulnerable. But at the same time, a lot of wonderful things can come out of being vulnerable. And so letting go of fear and opening myself back up to the possibilities and not just staying in a hidey hole, that is another one of my themes that I kind of want to embrace this year and fear mentally, spiritually, physically, all of the above. I love energy work. Being an empath, that is just something natural that I do. I don't have a lot of like natural born talents, but as far as my clairs go, empath is what has been given to me. And although it's incredibly helpful in my line of work, it's also incredibly draining. And so learning better how to control the empath abilities and balancing out other people's energies and being able to keep them separate from my own, and being able to, although I will probably still feel their experiences and feel their, you know, anything that they're going through, being able to acknowledge it, but then quickly being able to let it go, so that it's not just piling on top of me and piling on top of me until I'm pretty much suffocating on everybody else's emotions, which is a very dramatic way of saying it, but it does kind of feel like you're just, like, your aura starts out bright throughout the day, or at the beginning of the day, and then as you go along through your day, it's just getting darker and less bright and vibrant until it's just like this little, barely alive little flame that's about to be snuffed out. Like, that also sounds really dramatic, but it's kind of how it feels sometimes. And so being able to separate others' energy from my own, especially when my energy is not always on point either. So then we get double dose of just kind of like bleh energy. I want to continue working with Reiki. I've learned Reiki. I've gotten certified in it, but I have not. There's certain times where I will use it, but I would like to use it more, especially in my line of work. Like, energy work we're all tied together. The energy of us plus the physical and emotional and spiritual side, it all goes together. We're all working, it's all working together as one being. And so if one part is being left out and being deprived, it can manifest in all sorts of ways, including physically. So our bodies and the way the energy flows through us tells us a lot. And if you're able to tune into it, you can really change your life and change the way you view your body and how it works. And so Reiki, I've had the couple times I've done it, I've had some really interesting experiences, and which one of them I definitely am not going to share on camera, but yeah, Reiki is just, you're literally pulling from the source, which is nice too, because you're not giving up all your energy, you're just pulling it directly from the source. And so yeah, want to work more with Reiki for sure. This video, I'm so sorry guys, this looks so terrible, but I don't know what else to do to finish this video off. And lastly, there's a couple other like deities I'd like to work with. Last year I barely like dipped my toe into sort of trying to communicate with Anubis. I did do one working with him, but I'd like to actually like really dedicate some time to him, especially since I feel like the Egyptians are a whole other level, and all the other deities that I've ever worked with are very patient and very kind and generally want to help you, which is funny because they randomly come, it almost like comes to me in a way. And so the Egyptians are a whole other thing, and so I think I realized very quickly working with him that I was not ready. I was not ready to even like engage with him yet, just because my energy levels are not the same as some of those like really more intense deities and like entities and spirits. Like I just what I wasn't ready yet, and so I and honestly I don't even know how the working went because it was actually for another kind of like involving like justice, so to speak, in regards to something that happened to my parents' car with a hit and run situation. So we've just had really good luck with vehicles this year. Um, you okay, Autumn? My little doggy is like choking up a hairball over here. Okay, I think she's okay. Yeah, and then the other one is Baba Yaga. She is probably one of the most well-known Slavic deities, entities, and she absolutely terrifies me, for being perfectly honest. But at the same time, I just picture her this stern, like, grandmother who can teach you just a ton, but you gotta gain her respect first. And so I won't be asking shit of her until we really develop a relationship, and not until I really deep dive into Slavic paganism, because although I've been playing around with it, I haven't taken it as seriously as I would like to. So this year I really do want to just focus and give a lot of time to learning about it. Yeah. And lastly, I want to work with the sun energy. The sun has been like popping up a lot within the last couple weeks, which I think I mentioned before. But like I saw a random tarot sticker sun on the back of a Jeep as I was driving to work. It showed up in a couple other ways. So I'm like, ooh, the sun energy. And then I just got really inspired to do like a sun working back here for my family. And so it's just, I'm feeling that's what I'm supposed to be working with as far as planets go for now, for a little bit. And that's kind of the season right now too. We're welcoming back in the sun. So, and it'll just keep me in a more positive mindset too, because winter can be depressing at times. So, yeah. But other than that, that's about all. I also, not so magical, is I'm a very creative person, and I've kind of let some of my creativity go by the wayside. And so I really want to get back into writing. I used to absolutely love, and I still do, write like young adult novels, and trying to make some of them more adult as well. And so I really have the goal of getting one of them officially edited within the next couple months and releasing it somewhere, I don't know where, and then finishing another book up this year. That's the hope, that's the goal. And I also love doing like graphic art on the computer, which I'm hoping to add to like a small little business type endeavor. I did do a couple like fairs this last year, and I enjoyed doing those. So I would like to have like a little tiny business. It's definitely not going to be anything like huge, and it's probably just going to be within my tri-state area for now, until I kind of get the hang of it. But and then lastly, obviously, I'm just hoping to continue with my YouTube channel and just continuing to build it and to kind of share. It's just a way to express myself. So, and just share fun things and have conversations, and just another way for us to learn from each other. And so I'm hoping to have some good success with my YouTube channel this year. And this has already been a fantastic way to start out the year. But other than that, that is all. I am going to stop this recording now because the graininess is driving even me crazy. So thank you for listening. Happy New Year. May you have the best year that you've had in a long time. May you have success and happiness and protection and just all the good things. So, as always, stay kind, be curious, always speak your truth, and I will see you next time for another video. Bye.